guys, and welcome back to another movie review. And in this video, I'll be reviewing Blade Runner 2049. Now, Blade Runner 2049 came out in 2017, 35 years after the original. And in the movie, Ryan Gosling plays an officer named Officer K, who gets tasked with tracking down, different Nexus 8 replicants who are on Earth illegally. And essentially, he finds out that he finds the remains of a replicant and it turns out this replicant, Rachel from the original movie, had given birth before her death. And then Officer K is tasked with tracking down the very first naturally born replicant and retiring that replicant. And he ends up actually feeling he ends up coming into conflict with this assignment because he's never actually been tasked with retiring something that's actually been born, naturally born. He's only, throughout his career as a Blade Runner, he's only had to retire replicants who have been manufactured and not actually born. And then he ends up going on the trail he ends up trying to find this naturally born replicant, but he also ends up experiencing flashbacks to when he was an orphan, and then he ends up actually deducing him to be the first naturally born replicant. And then he ends up eventually tracking down Rick Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, who's been missing for 30 years. Now, I won't go into too much more about the story. This movie had a lot of great themes. For example, Officer K experiencing guilt and conflict with his assignment, which is to track down the very first naturally born replicant and retire it. This movie's cinematography was outstanding. One scene that really stood out to me the most was in the desert when Officer K goes to track down Rick Deckard. Some of those shots in the desert were outstanding. This movie's visual effects were also phenomenal, and this movie did win the Oscars for Best Cinematography and Best Visual Effects. Any downsides? A couple of downsides. In my opinion, this movie did not have to be 2 hours and 40 minutes. Granted, I do like long movies. I know some people aren't huge fans of very long movies. I do like long movies. At the same time, I don't think this movie had to be 2 hours and 40 minutes. I think it could have easily been condensed by about 20 minutes because at times it did feel like some scenes did drag on. I think a couple of scenes, not too many scenes, but I think a few scenes here and there could have been condensed a little bit. Another gripe I had with this movie was that Harrison Ford, who plays Rick Deckard, also played Rick Deckard in the original, didn't have too much screen time, even though his character plays a pivotal role in the movie's story, or to the film's storyline, him being the father of the first naturally born replicant. He didn't have too much screen time, which I thought was a little bit disappointing. One scene that did stand out to me a lot, though, was that fight scene when after Officer K tracks down Rick Deckard and they get into that scuffle. I thought that scene was very well done. The movie's final showdown I thought was pretty satisfying as well. I thought the film's ending was pretty satisfying after Officer K ends up meeting a replicant rebellion group who considered the first naturally born replicant a symbol of hope, and they see this child as actually being a symbol that they're more than just replicants and actually more human than the humans themselves. But overall, this movie had a lot of great themes. I thought Ana de Armas was also very good in this movie. She played an artificial intelligence named Joy, who basically she was invented by the Tyrell Corporation. She was invented to serve people's needs. At the same time, however, her character wasn't too crucial to the movie's storyline. I thought she could have had a little bit more of a purpose in the movie. I don't think she had... Look, she was great in the movie, but she didn't really serve much purpose to the movie's storyline, so I thought that was a little bit disappointing. But overall, this movie was sensationally shot. It was very, very well shot. Cinematography was excellent. The visual effects were excellent. Ryan Gosling did a fantastic job as Officer K. I thought Jared Leto also did a great job. I thought Sylvia Hoeks did a great job. So this movie's cast, in my opinion, they all did a fantastic job in their respective performances. A couple of gripes. I wish Rick Deckard would have had a bit more screen time. Joy, who in the movie was played by Ana de Armas, I thought could have had a bit more... I would have liked it had she had a bit more purpose to the film's storyline or the film's overarching story. I would have hoped she would have had a bit more purpose. Again, another gripe I had was that this movie, I think, could have been condensed by about 20 minutes. I don't think it had to be 2 hours and 40 minutes. But overall, a fantastic sequel. In my opinion, not quite as good as the original 1982 movie, which I consider an absolute classic and one of my favourite sci-fi movies of all time. Not quite as good as the original, but at the same time, cinematography was fantastic, visual effects were fantastic, performances were great. I thought the ending was quite satisfying as well. I thought the movie's ending was fairly satisfying. I can't say it felt, I don't think the ending felt too rushed or anticlimactic. I thought the ending was pretty good. The movie score as well, I thought was fantastic. It did a great job at actually invoking a sense of intensity, and yeah, I thought the movie score was also great. So yeah, great score, great visual effects, cinematography, performances. Denis Villeneuve, who directed this movie, did a great job. In my opinion, this is one of his best movies. I actually prefer this movie to Dune. Probably on par, maybe not quite as good as Sicario, but I did prefer this movie to Dune personally. But yeah, Blade Runner 2049 was a fantastic sequel. In my opinion, not quite as good as the original, but still a fantastic sequel. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Go check it out if you haven't seen it already. Shame though, it actually bombed at the box office, even though it is considered a modern cult classic. It did bomb at the box office, which is unfortunate. And I actually didn't see it in cinemas back in 2017. I hadn't seen the original, and I decided to give this one a miss. Shame I did. Shame I didn't see it in cinemas, and shame I hadn't seen the original. But yeah, I do regret that. But overall, yeah, great movie. I have seen this movie twice now. And yeah, go check it out and stay tuned for more reviews very, very soon. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.